Good morning, world. I am Judy, your web based therapist, making therapy accessible and convenient for our clients in Florida and New York, and of course, sharing information worldwide. Today, I want to talk about five less common signs of depression because people have a pretty good idea what depression looks like. Some people, or at least many people, have a good idea of certain things that may be signs of depression, but there are some less common signs that people may not know about, and often those signs get missed because people are not paying attention or they're not expecting them. So when they present, people are not looking since they're not looking for them, they miss them. So today we're going to talk about those. But before I jump into that, I want to take a quick moment and say if you are subscribed, thank you so very much for being a part of our world. And if you are not yet subscribed, please take a moment and click the subscribe button below so that you can become a part of this wonderful world of ours. And of course, if you'd like to purchase one or three of my books, there's also a link below that will take you to a website that shows you all the different places, your different options for purchasing one or three of my books. Okay, let's get back to work. First thing is irritability. Most people expect depression to look a certain way, but irritability or that extra snappiness is not one of those things that we expect because we expect people experiencing depression to be a lot more sullen, a lot more down, but the irritability is just not what we're looking for. But irritability can be a symptom or a sign of depression. And you start noticing that you're a lot more snappy, or someone in your life is a lot more snappy when certain things are going on. And things that normally would not be such a big deal, things you might let go, you're not able to let go as much. I often talk about how when you're not good, when things are not okay, everything is magnified. If you're not in a good place, sometimes having if you're not in a good place, the smallest thing that just becomes magnified. You're not responding to situations, you're not reacting as you. So things can hurt a little bit more. Things can zing a lot more than they normally would. So that's one of the things associated with that's one of the sources or reasons for that irritability because, things are magnified. Two, difficulty with concentration. We don't expect that with depression. And a lot of times when people start experiencing difficulties with concentration, we find all the many possible reasons, all the many explanations, age, I didn't sleep well, even though we know that changes in sleep patterns can be a sign of depression. But that's not what we're thinking. We're looking for reasons, or innocent reasons or simple reasons to explain the difficulty with concentration. But it's also important to keep in mind that issues or extended issues with concentration can be a sign or at least a warning that, something is going on. Maybe there's a little issue with depression that you may want to look into. Three, ruminating thoughts. That moment where it's almost like you're trying to undo, or yeah, it's almost like you're trying to undo the past, where you start replaying things that already happened, things that have already been dealt with, put to bed, but now you're replaying them in your head and you can't let it go because you're trying to figure out, okay, how could I have done this differently? What could I have said? Or I should have said this, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Just trying to figure out how to undo a situation that is already done, that has already been put away, that you can't really do anything about it. But for whatever reason, you just can't let the thought out of your head. You just can't seem to let it go. So those types of things are sometimes, things that you may want to look into, that ruminating thoughts but the main thing about it is that inability to let go. It's sometimes you may know, okay, this thing is done, I should let it go. But for whatever reason, you're finding that you're not able to just let it go and move forward. It just sticks there. Or unhealthy coping, or sometimes, becoming the life of the party. A lot of times when people start experiencing symptoms of depression, instead of addressing the symptom directly, they try to do things to cover or mask the symptoms. Those things would be things like drinking, or maybe using certain drugs, or using just things that they expect to make them feel better, but instead at the end makes them feel worse. For example, you may be drinking, oh, you may start drinking a lot more because you start experiencing depressive symptoms. But at the end of the day, you drink all that excessive drinking, and then you wake up and you still have your depressive symptoms, and now you're feeling bad or you're feeling worse than you did because you have the aftermath of whatever you did while you were drunk, or just the aftermath of having consumed so much alcohol or whatever it is that is going on. People sometimes they'll try to eat the depression away, which does not happen. You can't eat it away. At the end of the day, you're just feeling a lot more sluggish or a lot more whatever feeling you get from eating the unhealthy food or eating whatever you ate to try to, stuff down your depression. So now you have depression plus whatever that extra stuff is. Unhealthy coping skills happen a lot because we think that if we do these things, it's going to make things go away. If one way we see this a lot is sometimes that when a celebrity or someone who was like the life of the party, you find out that this person that you thought was super happy because they were always the life of the party, they were always excited out there, out, maybe being the entertainer, maybe being that putting on that front in order to try to mask whatever was going on the inside. And at the end of the day, they go home and all the feelings, all the emotions, all that hurt is still in there. And on top of it, now they're dealing with whatever they did that day or that night or when they were drinking or doing whatever else they did. Five, those random aches or illnesses. Sometimes when our bodies try to tell us, "Hey, something's wrong," and we're not listening, when we start getting the emotional cues and we don't listen, sometimes the body just says, "Okay, maybe we'll make you take a break with the physical thing," because, we tend to pay attention to more of the physical things. So things like random aches, for out of the blue, you just start getting headaches or you start getting these random pains that your doctor cannot explain and you've done every test, and you sometimes you'll notice that people will start going to the doctor for an issue they just cannot seem to figure out. And sometimes a doctor will recommend that they see a therapist. And I've seen it where people will get upset that the doctor would recommend that. But one of the reasons they recommend that is because, the sometimes emotional issues, sometimes mental health issues can present with certain physical symptoms because that's the body's way of saying, "Hey, pay attention to me. I gave you all these signs and you weren't looking. So I'm going to start hurting in other spots that will make you look." So those do happen. It happens that sometimes maybe it's a headache, maybe it's a random thing on your neck or whatever it is. Sometimes random like your back starts hurting for no reason. You start getting a neck pain that has nothing to do with anything you did. Or maybe you start getting stress headaches that people call them. Just pay attention to your body, and if something weird is going on, you may consider, "Hey, what else could be going on?" Let's do a quick recap. One, irritability. Not every person who is depressed is curled up in a corner being crying. Sometimes it shows up as irritability. We're extra snappy. Two, difficulty with concentration. Yes, it could be age. Yes, it could be that you didn't sleep well that night, but it could also be that you're experiencing symptoms of depression, which include not sleeping well. Three, ruminating thoughts, that feeling or that desire or that effort to undo the past, and you just can't let go of a thought or an issue or something from the past. And you just keep trying to replay it in your head and just trying to undo it or trying to fix it, but it's already done. Or unhealthy coping. Things like drinking, drugs, and just being the life of the party, or doing um, excessively risky things, just trying to find ways to mask the depression. But as you can do all those things, but at the end of the day, the next morning you're gonna wake up and the depression is still gonna be there with whatever the aftermath of your attempts to smash it. Finally, random aches and illnesses. Sometimes, if we don't pay attention to all those other cues, our bodies start to um, give us physical cues, do other things, tell us or make us physically um, show symptoms physically in order to make us pay attention to what is being said. So, if you start experiencing random weird what do you call it, aches and pains that you don't normally have or don't have a actual reason to have, you may consider what else it could be. As always, if you or someone you know happens to be going through something that's more than you can handle, please remember that there are professionals like myself who are available, able, and willing to help, and are even providing remote services who can assist with whatever you may have going on. So please figure out who those people are in your community so that if you need them, you can reach out and get the help that you need. And that is all we have for today. Good morning, world. Have an awesome day.